Playground just integrated the new ChatGPT 4.0 image generator into their platform. We're going to have an over-the-shoulder look of how this plays with Playground's platform. So here we are in Playground. Generally speaking, you go to this sidebar, you click create, and then you get inspired by the t-shirt section or whatever section you want to look at, and you pick something that's close to the style that you're trying to do. So let's pull up a few examples. Let's select the free ones as much as we can and pick things that are going to flex the ChatGPT muscles of prompt adherence, because ultimately that is the biggest strength that ChatGPT has. And if we can use that alongside conversational prompts, then that makes Playground one of the best places to be in terms of generating AI designs. Okay, so I pulled up like 6 or 7 of these, and we're going to make some adjustments with conversational prompts. So something to keep in mind is that Playground's really designed for us to be using their pre-made templates and then asking for modifications. In fact, we can't just generate something based on a prompt. It's not how it works in this platform. But that makes it very beginner friendly, and it makes it fairly easy to apply different trending design styles. For instance, this social club type design, or this boho type design, or this silly goose type design, and apply it to different kinds of niches, because we already have it here and we can easily adapt it to our purposes. And my goal is to let you see the kinds of things that you can do and have it make sense so that it's easier for you to build your portfolio with the new image generator. And we're also going to put it through its paces with these conversational prompts. So let's start with finding one that's a good candidate for a subject swap. So this one is a solid option for a subject swap. So let's make the bear an otter. And that's perfect. That looks very much within the same style. And you need to make sure that you're choosing the 4.0 image model instead of Playground v3. And we can also do another simple swap out to test that. And let's switch it from Summer Be Like to Utterly Amused. Okay, so that looks good. It's got solid prompt adherence, which is a hallmark of ChatGPT. So let's ask for a more complex swap out. So now we are changing 2 variables. We're changing it to be a woman with floaties, and we are changing the phrase to summer vibin'. Okay, so this looks pretty good, but it does not have the same feel, which is something that I've noticed as I've experimented with it. The further along we get into the alterations, the more the design style changes. So let's see if we could ask for it to revert to the old design style. So we just typed in revert to previous design style. Okay, so here we are with our modification, and I do like this modification. It's not particularly related to the prompt I gave it. It does not go back to the monochrome type design. Let's see if we can make it do that. So make it monochromatic. Okay, so it's in the same color family. It's not exactly monochromatic, but it does kind of get the idea. Let's try to make it punch out and use only 2 colors. So we're asking for only 2 colors now. So as I said earlier, the more we go down the chain of designs, the less like the original we get, kind of regardless of what we put into the prompt. So while this gives awesome ChatGPT image vibes, I really liked both this one, and obviously the ones that were the most like the original. But the further along we get, the less control we have over the changes that we're asking for with the conversational prompts, which is not really a problem. It's just something we need to keep in mind. It means that if we're going to be changing out things, we need to be swapping things very intentionally and then taking whatever good outputs we get. Okay, so let's get out of that design chain and we'll go with something else. Here we have a completely different type of design. We've got a bunch of different seashell types, and we have it in a very specific kind of design style. So what can we do here that makes sense? Okay, so let's ask for different puppy faces. So we'll change it to adorable puppies are calling. And let's see what that gives us. Okay, so that's pretty adorable. And this one looks a little bit like a rat, but I guess there are dogs that do look like that, right? So kept the same kind of style. It gridded it out. It made the text bigger, which I actually liked. And yeah, so it does a very solid job of intelligently pulling different kinds of dog faces. And that multi-object complex decision making is something that is a hallmark of the ChatGPT 4.0 model. So we are getting a decent amount of that through the API that's going through Playground. So it can definitely handle multiple images and tons of different variables, just like ChatGPT can. So let's move on from that one. And here we have the classic retro vintage sunset design. And what I want to do with this example is to see if it can pick its own phrase. So we're just asking if it can make it into a funny design by adding a phrase. Very open-ended prompt that pretty much only ChatGPT can do anything with. And here we go. It did choose a pun. It did choose something that's funny. So it's able to make some decisions like ChatGPT can. But let's see if we can add more detail. Okay, so adding detail did a solid job. I'd be very happy to post this particular image. So we can come to the conclusion that it does have a decent amount of decision-making capability that ChatGPT has. So let's close that one out. Okay, so this is a typographical design. Let's make it into a different one. So let's change it to a groovy font layout that works well on dark colored t-shirts. Nice. So it did choose a groovy font and it did optimize it for a dark colored t-shirt, which is exactly what we were looking for when we typed in that conversational prompt. So we could easily use this interface to do several different styles, starting with a phrase. So let's close that one out. So we've already done object switching, we've done phrase switching, we've optimized for a different color set and switched a typographical style. So let's see if we can switch an image style and have it work out well. So let's ask for something wildly different. So let's just change this to a cyberpunk themed design and see what that shoots out for us. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Definitely on brand with the cyberpunk theme. It might be a little bit difficult to get rid of that background, but it is exactly what we were hoping for. Okay, so let's try and isolate it to see if we can make the background something we could work with. Okay, so let's see if we can make this a little better by including the whole body. It looked better that way, and I want to go back to summer living. Okay, so I like this image. It would work well for some kind of wall art, but it is probably not going to be the best t-shirt design. But it did follow all of the prompts that we were looking for at pretty much all the steps. And here we go with a silly goose type design. So let's put in a trending phrase. So let's change it to on my way to make the vibe awkward. And let's also make it wear a jester hat. Nice. So it kept the design style, it got all of the text right, and it laid out the text in a very appealing way, the same way ChatGPT would. Okay, so this is obviously a design that would work better on Etsy, and it has text, it has a simple layout, but it's one that AI would struggle with a little bit. But let's see if we can turn this into a social club design. Okay, so we're going to use this design to stress test how many variables it can get right. We're switching out single babes into feral babes, and we're changing cocktail club into social club, and we're changing more self-love and more cocktails into keep it wild, keep it feral, and we're changing the central image to be a raccoon wearing a coquette in the same style of the original image. Okay, so I'm pretty impressed with this. It's got all of the text swaps right. That was a lot of variables to change at the same time. It even got the image swap right. It is in the same style. It's just not the best image. So let's see if we can modify the image to be a little bit better. Okay, so we're asking for more detail in the main image of the raccoon. We want it to be smiling, holding a glass of wine, and the coquette, we're going to put it on the top of the head. Let's see what the image generator does now. Okay, so not the best. It's kind of like before, right? We're getting too deep into the changes and it's losing some of the original feel. Okay, so let's see if we can just put the main image back in because I am really not too satisfied with either of these raccoons. Okay, so as you can see, we are once again running into issues with asking for too many changes to the same image. This is something that can also happen in a normal ChatGPT chat, and you have to force it to forget certain details because you'll get a lot of bleed over from all of the different adjustments you ask for. Okay, so we were able to swap tons of variables out with all of those different text bits, but let's go ahead and move on and go to this last one. So what I want to do is test the ability of the AI to swap to different styles. And let's choose a vastly different style than this one. So let's change this to be a kawaii design. And there we go. Massive change, definitely kawaii, fits the vibe, worked quite well. Now let's go back and let's see if we can change it into a different kind. So let's make this gothic, see what happens. Okay, so that's definitely a cool gothic vibe. It's a little bit dark, but you could completely brighten up this image. Okay, so let's isolate this and make the tone a deep red. I think that would work better. Okay, so that definitely made it worse, not better. But I would probably just take this image and I would apply some kind of post-processing to it to change the color choices, brighten it up. It's got good detail, it's just very dark. But ultimately, you don't have to use everything that comes out of the AI generator. Sometimes you could just take the loss. Okay, so I had a lot of fun playing around in Playground, and really, the 4.0 integration into Playground did a lot of the same things that are the strengths of the ChatGPT 4.0 image generator. It could handle tons of changes at the same time. It was very accurate with its text. We were able to ask it to make open-ended changes, and it did a pretty good job in all of those. But every time that we tried to make too many changes on the same image, we started running into issues where the quality kept decreasing. So making sure that you're very intentional with your changes is going to make a huge difference in the quality of your outputs. So you could use this Playground platform to get these awesome free commercial use images, but it won't mean anything if you don't know how to process the images on the back end to make sure that they're usable for print on demand. So if you want to know how to do that, check out this video over here where I go over everything you need to know in terms of how to process your images. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in that video.